Hello and welcome to Digital Transformation and AI for Humans with your host, Amy. In this podcast, we delve into how technology intersects with leadership, innovation, and most importantly, the human spirit. Each episode features visionary leaders who understand that at the heart of success is the human touch, nurturing a winning mindset, fostering emotional intelligence, and building resilient teams. Let's take a closer look at the AI and educational technology innovation to redefine the future of learning with my fantastic guest from Luxembourg, Attila Lengyel. Attila is a former Amazon Web Services senior leader, Amazon Bar Racer, Chief Innovation Officer at EdTech, keynote speaker, expert strategy building facilitator, innovation coach, and company culture nerd. By leveraging Amazon's mechanisms for innovation, Attila helped companies like Securitas and Heineken build new digital products and services rooted in customer needs. As an Amazon bar racer, he has conducted over 500 interviews, supported over 100 hires, and mentored bar racer candidates. Attila's career journey also includes over a decade of senior roles at Microsoft and Exact Software, where he translated business objectives into transformative technology solutions. Welcome, Attila. I'm excited to have you in the studio. So great to have this conversation today. It's truly timely. How are you?
It is my absolute pleasure and honor to be invited and have this conversation with you. So, yes, I feel great.
Amazing. Let's start the conversation and transform not just our technologies, but our ways of thinking and leading. If you are interested in connecting or collaborating, you can find more information in the description below. Subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes. I'd also love to invite you to get your copy of AI Leadership Compass, Unlocking Business Growth and Innovation, the definitive guide for leaders and business owners to adapt and thrive in the age of AI and digital transformation. Find the Amazon link in the description below. Attila, to start with, I'd love to learn more about you, your journey, about everything what brought you to the success you are experiencing today.
Thank you. So, I think my story started, oh my God, almost 3 decades ago when I graduated as a teacher of history and economics. But teaching was not really a very lucrative career path back in the 90s. So, as Hollywood stars are saying, I was young, I needed the money, so I moved over to IT. I never became an IT engineer or a programmer. I always stayed on the business side. And in all of my roles, I was actually working on helping companies to be a better version of themselves with the use of technology. At the beginning, in the first 10 years or so inside Microsoft and Exact, these are fairly simple things. For example, just deploying a new piece of software to have a better warehouse system or have some workflow in order to streamline internal procedures. And about 12 or 11 years ago, I got a call from Amazon Web Services and they invited me to join their teams. And I became a cloud computing salesperson. Now, I kind of elevated my act to a different level because now I was talking about overall digital transformation and how to leverage this brand new technology, which was just as revolutionary at that time, about 12 years ago, than Gen AI now. So I was working with companies to figure it out. How can they use this technology to initiate that digital transformation and get some really tangible results out of that? After a few years, I switched roles inside AWS and joined the training and certification team because I kept hearing from my customers that, Attila, we get it. We understand the business rationale behind moving to the cloud, but we just have no people who can actually do this. So I thought, okay, cloud skills, digital skills, that's going to be the next big thing. I became the training manager of a quite big area inside the EMEA region. And I was working with companies to build their own digital learning strategies and building a new cloud-capable workforce. And about 4 years later, so about 4 years ago, I joined a new team, which was called Digital Innovation Team, Because again, I listened to customers and I heard that, okay, we get the business rationale. Now we have people who can actually do this. Now what? We lift and shift everything. That's cool. How can we get more out of that? So I thought, okay, now it's innovation, which is on the table. How to leverage this new technology in order to bring new products and services faster in a better way to market. So when I was working in the digital innovation team, I was telling the story of how Amazon innovates. And if a customer raised hands saying, makes sense, can we give it a try? I was able to work with them, ask them to bring one of their own customer problems, and I coached them how we would approach it if it were inside Amazon and help them to build a new digital product or service. And about 6 months ago, I kind of made a big career decision and left the corporate world behind and decided to leverage everything I learned over the past almost 3 decades and help a company called EdTech, which is a very visionary educational technology company, and build something dramatically new in order to bring a new type of learning into the corporate world. So that's where I am.
Amazing. And congratulations to your big leap, because it's always exciting to change the path. It's always exciting to participate in something that is going to transform the future of edutech. And I have the first question, which is actually closely connected to a story. Artificial intelligence today is reshaping job roles and industries. How can business leaders future-proof workforce education, ensuring continuous learning keeps pace with rapid change?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much. That's the plan, to really bring something revolutionary to this market. And the first question is actually really exciting and interesting because it is, to me, it very much focuses on the relationship between leaders and their educational business departments, so the learning and development teams. Because I have seen good examples and bad examples. I have seen examples where learning and development teams were an absolute engine of innovation and adopting new technologies. But most of the times I bumped into teams who were thinking quite traditionally. So I think as a leader, how to make it business proof, I think it's about building a more agile learning system, something which is reacting much, much faster. Because especially if you think about Gen AI, it is changing on a weekly basis. So you can't afford to have a learning strategy which is carved into stone for the next 3 years. That's what I have seen. Learning and development teams are very often isolated from the market, from the customers. So, and they are following some well-defined and carefully written rules and strategies. But these are kind of set for the next 12, 36 months. And they are very hard to push them out of this. So as a leader, I think what I have seen working very well is when leaders are building this connection between the real life and their customer-facing roles and customer-facing functions and their learning departments. And actually making sure that the learning departments has the capability to react in a super fast way. And they can build up new skill development possibilities just like this. I don't know, does it answer your question?
Absolutely. And this part with the fast-paced transformation and the fact that the world is changing and we can't really navigate as before, we need a different approach. It is leading me to this thought that learning is shifting from theory to real world problem solving as well, not just in terms of the timeline, but in terms of definitions and approaches. So what major trends are driving this shift, and how can AI and Gen AI transform corporate learning into a driver of critical thinking, adaptability, and innovation so needed today and tomorrow?
So, yes, I think this is an ongoing shift for decades now. Honestly, even 30 years ago when I graduated, I heard the same things, which I keep hearing since that, is when companies are hiring a fresh graduate and they tell them that, okay, good, you have the theory. Now forget everything you learned in the university because we do stuff on our own way. right? So it's kind of the theory versus the everyday practice and how they are supporting and balancing or contradicting each other. A lot of companies are actually building their own educational programs. Sometimes it's just a 90-day onboarding, like in Amazon. Sometimes it's a much longer, like over your, like a few career path defining education, where they want to teach the people they hired the way they are doing business, which is understandable, but it could be tricky because it might freeze people's thinking into the good old patterns, and they don't necessarily going to support innovation. Nevertheless, I think about 3 years ago, when Gen AI became a thing and it became suddenly common sense and everybody started to talk about it, I think it was fairly easy to identify the 4 low-hanging fruits. So those functions, what Gen AI can help greatly with, these are like create new content, videos, pictures, audios, create new code, automate stuff like personal assistants. But what was the most important and most interesting for me is analyzing, digesting, and assessing immense amount of knowledge, immense amount of documentation, immense amount of data, which is, I think, is a game changer when it comes to education. Because here's the thing, when it comes to critical thinking and adopting the theory, usually it will ask you or make you do a lot of research. Think about this. You are a fresh graduate from legal university. You are a lawyer, right? And you join a company. You have all the legal knowledge in your head. And now you're going to sit into a company who has, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of patents and a huge amount of intellectual property. And your responsibility will be to deal with it. So now you have to start by digesting immense amount of documentation and figure it out what's going on. With the help of Gen AI, actually this whole process of understanding what's the real life reality of the company is going to be much, much faster, like incomparably faster. So I think that's where Gen AI is going to help people to combine or synchronize theory with practice by building the bridge between the two, helping you to digest and understand how real life looks like so that you can start applying the theory into this absolute real life scenario. So I think that's the and the way how Gen AI can be used to actually teach this is I believe going to be 2 things. First of all, I have seen tendencies that in order to be able to apply your theory into real life, Gen AI will be able to help you to run simulations, game-based learning, serious games, actually put you into lifelike situations where you will have the possibility to apply this theory in real life. And the other thing is what Gen AI will be able to do is actually create continuously up-to-date curriculum automatically based on how circumstances or the context is changing related to your job role. So think about it this way. If you are a salesperson or a customer service agent, it will happen. Well, that's what we are working on at EduGamiTech. It will happen that you will be put into gamified situations where you will be able to like simulate how to get out of very challenging or tough customer situations. And on the other hand, based on all the incoming customer interactions, there will be a tool who will monitor this continuously, understand what are the most pressing, the most interesting incoming customer requests, understand what is the best answer for that, and continuously update the curriculum, which will be available for you as a customer service agent real time, immediately. So you can apply everything you learn in real life immediately.
Exciting times.
Very much, yes.
Absolutely. They are opening up for such incredible solutions, and everything is getting so much easier and faster. And also, it's so much easier to relate to the real life examples and get into the practice so fast and much easier as well.
I have to say that there is a little trap here, though, which I keep seeing it happening again and then again, and not just with Gen AI, but with all the big technologies which emerged in the past, let's say 10, 15 years, starting with big data, then cloud, then blockchain, and now with Gen AI, is that these are being hyped at the moment. These were always very fashionable at certain time. And it happened many times that leaderships or leaders in companies heard about it and they say, okay, this is transformative. This is going to change the game. We need to apply it. We need to use it because otherwise we're going to miss the train. So they said, okay, let's try to do something with it. So they actually started to push this new technology without really thinking through what can be reasonably applied to. And there was always somebody in the teams, in the IT teams, who raised hands saying that, well, I read this article or saw this video. This is how we can use Gen AI. So they started to build something without a real understanding that how this could be beneficial for anybody inside or outside of the company. They built something, and eventually, because it's not really addressing a real need, it didn't go anywhere. So it is a failure. And unfortunately, I've seen many cases that then leadership draw the wrong conclusion that this technology is not for them. And they conclude that this failed experiment, that's it. We're not going to touch this technology anymore because it's not for us. Our customers, our business, or for whatever reason, is not going to work for us. And not just that they shelf this experiment, but even in the future, if somebody comes in and saying, hey, here is this customer problem and here is a solution, and I would like to use blockchain to solve this, they say, no. They tried blockchain, it didn't work for us, forget it. And they just completely put aside a very important piece of technology. And they missed the train eventually. And this is a vicious circle. It happens again and again with the new technology coming up, becoming fashionable. Let's try to do something with it. It didn't work. It's not for us. We are missing the train. So when it comes to practical life and how to use this technology, I think it's extremely important to be aware what these technologies are really usable for.
And this message, it's not only super important, but it also reflects the latest trends and what is really going on from the leadership perspective, because exactly what you just described, you can hear a similar story and similar experiences from so many other leaders in my previous episodes as well, and we are seeing the same. And it's painful. It is so sad because sometimes it might even kill the business. If you are not catching up with the change, you are going to stay behind, and it might mean death for your business because competitors are moving forward and there will be no space at certain point.
Absolutely.
So it is a matter of survival right now. And that's why we are having these conversations to highlight what really matters and place things into perspective to show that it is not about technologies. It is also about solutions and strategies. And technologies are just some sort of enabler.
Absolutely. And that is actually connecting to, you mentioned that I'm also a company culture nerd. And I think it's super important to have a clear company culture, like the highest level of business model is about the purpose of your organization and what are the needs you are about to serve. And I think Amazon is very good with that. So every technology they explore and experiment with and later on adopt, they always look at those technologies through the lens of what kind of customer needs can be addressed with that. So, but that could be a topic of a different conversation at one point.
Yeah. I'm sure we're going to open up for that conversation separately because it is super valuable and super exciting as well. Attila, most business models rely on deep expertise, but artificial intelligence is changing the game. With automation making knowledge more accessible, broad, adaptable thinking is in higher demand. How do you see the STEM approach evolving, and what role will generalists play in the future of educational technology and workforce learning?
This is a recurring debate I have here at home with my wife. She's a graphics artist, a game developer, game designer, and she has probably hundreds of ex-colleagues who are in a very difficult situation right now because fairly simple GenAI tools are actually pushing them out from their jobs, creating an image, creating a video, creating the new design. It's something that can be automated now. And these people are actually, their job is at risk. So we have this conversation all the time. And I'm saying that honestly, it already happened in the past. There was always a new technology coming in and making certain jobs and professions obsolete. Just think about, I don't know, industrial metal manufacturing and how they pushed blacksmith out of the business. Or if I look at movies from the 50s, there is always these rooms full of ladies sitting behind typewriters and copying documents, right? And when the first Xerox photocopy machine came into business, they were all out of their jobs. But the same happened with, for example, the photo studios who were creating the paper copies of photos, right? And with digital photography, they were out of business unless they reinvented themselves. So I always tell my wife that, yeah, I mean, it happened before. So, and those who survived, they were able to either embrace the new technology and use it to elevate their profession into a higher level, or they had to look for something else. And her argument is, yes, that's true, but in the past, these changes happen much, much slower. And also, one innovation usually impacted one small family of jobs, related jobs. And right now we see something which is uncomparably faster. And it's like the same technology is disrupting hundreds or probably even more jobs. So yes, it's a situation which is unprecedented. Probably never heard about this before. And yeah, it will require people to look at their job and their profession differently. I would say that the way I see is how education will support this, or what will be the role of education in the future. I think it's going to be in two layers. First of all, it will have to focus on helping people to master this new technology. So how to use GenAI at the highest level with the most effective and efficient way. It's something like back in the 90s when Photoshop became a thing. And then first there was a lot of uproar from the graphical designers and artist space saying that, from now on, every amateur can just create beautiful pictures. And then history showed that no, that was not it. But artists, if they learned how to use this new tool, they were actually able to elevate their artistic vision and create something even way much better and more beautiful than they were capable of doing before that. So I think one direction of education around GenAI is going to be to teach people how to use GenAI tools the most effective way and how to use it for their own profession to reach better quality, faster delivery, things like that. On the other side is, and I think that's more important from the perspective of your question, generalists. I believe that the second layer of what the GenAI related education we have to achieve is teach people how to leverage the possibilities what GenAI makes available. And what I'm thinking about is I already mentioned to you that GenAI is capable of digesting immense amount of data and then analyze it, extract it, create summaries, and help you understand and get to the same level of knowledge, which in the past would have required probably months and months and months of research and reading. So, and it also helps you or help organizations to break down knowledge silos, right? In the past, like even just 3-4 years ago, there were experts who were very good in the warehouse management systems. There were experts who were brilliant salespeople or legal or marketing, and they were sitting on top of a massive amount of knowledge related to their profession. But right now, if I use a Gen AI tool and I say, okay, tell me everything I need to know about the warehouse systems or marketing or sales, I kind of can get a certain level of information and knowledge. So this means that silos are going to be broken down. And I think what education have to achieve is to teach me now what. So what can I do if there are no more silos? How can I don't know, how can I live, how can I operate in a world where every information is available? So I think if it comes to Gen AI, these are the two directions: to master the tools, and the second, to really leverage the power what these tools can actually unleash.
I love your approach. And it's really not that easy to know how it's going to shift and how it's going to reflect on our lives, our professional future. And as you mentioned, there are two approaches, and many professionals are worried today because it looks like if AI is developing fast enough to be able to replace many professions within the coming few years, and it can not worry and not create that resistance in adoption as well. Because when you are thinking about the approach within the companies, when they see that every new technology, every new pilot which is going to roll out and replace something is going potentially to take them out of their profession. So, of course, they are consciously or unconsciously trying to slow it down and resist it as long as possible. But that's a very interesting topic. So, fast forward to the future. What's your vision and predictions for how EdTech will evolve over the next 2 to 5 years?
So it is a super hard question, right? So if I look at the tools what we can use now to create learning content or to deliver this learning content, it is changing on a weekly basis. There is always a new tool coming up which makes it much easier for you to do certain tasks. So it's really tough to have an idea where this is going to end up. But I think there will be two main trends. And talking with learning and L&D professionals, that's what I also see, that's what they are using Gen AI for at the moment. And one of them is content creation, so learning content creation. And Gen AI is going to accelerate it and totally transform it. So right now, creating learning content, it's a long job. It's tough work. And also it's very challenging because your product team is telling you that, hey, here are the new features of a new product, create the learning content around that. And then you as an L&D professional, you need to figure out what's important, what's not, how to prioritize, and so on and so forth. So that's a lot of work. Also, once you created the curriculum, it's done. In order to modify it, usually takes a lot of time and money and energy. And also, if you create the delivery method, so you record the videos, you create the PowerPoint and all that stuff, changing content requires a lot of re-recording and redesign, so a lot of work. And I think that is something which will dramatically change in the future. I can envision that 5 years from now, creating learning content can become real time. Like, you as a learner ask a question and the systems will create a complete curriculum, learning content from the basics to mastering the certain topic real time. So I think that's one. So content creation is going to be completely different how we are doing it right now. And the second thing is customization. Absolutely tailored, personalized learning content. Now we are using personalization, for example, on online shopping, right? Amazon is famous about creating recommendations of products based on millions of factors. And I think we will reach the same customization level with learning as well. I think the one-size-fits-all curriculum, it's in the past. It's going to go away. I believe that this is a crucial moment when we might have the opportunity to, I think, develop a more natural way of learning. So sort of turning learning and corporate education from a chore and a burden and something you just want to get over it as fast as possible, and turn it something more of a natural exploration, fun experience, which will make it more engaging. So actually you want to come back for more, and it will put your mind in a flow state, so you will be more focused, and this will enable knowledge retention to be much, much higher. So I think these two things, so creating the learning content, it will be completely different, and how we deliver this learning content, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to be more engaging and much more fun in the future.
Exciting. And I'm looking forward to see more of that because, as you mentioned, the flow state creates completely different pace of perception and how we incorporate that knowledge into our systems. And it means that we can move faster, but still there is so much to learn, so much to develop and level up when those technologies are surrounding us and coming into our life in different perspectives, on different dimensions. Of course, it is important to upgrade ourselves and acquire that new knowledge. And those opportunities you just described, it is amazing to see that we will be able to move faster and take that leap as human beings as well, and hopefully become wiser, not only smarter. But speaking about this, let's come back to the topic of leadership, because there is no successful application of technologies in real life without right type of leadership. And AI demands a new kind of leader. What skills will define successful leadership in the AI era, and how can AI-driven learning help executives stay ahead of disruption?
So yeah, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about, for example, myself, how I would like to be a leader in the future, how I would like to be educated, even by my own company, right? And I think some of the status quo is not really going to change. So some of the key leadership principles are going to stay the same, which is you as a leader, you have to have an absolute crystal clear understanding of what is the purpose of your organization. You have to have this highest level of mental model about your mission and what is your goal as an organization. And you have to be able to communicate it super effectively and continuously reinforce throughout the whole organization. So that is something which is not going to change. Maybe with Gen AI, there will be some tools which will make it easier for you, but that's not going to change. However, I think there will be another characteristic which will be required, and it's connected to the fact which I told you, that there won't be any silos anymore. Getting a certain depth of knowledge of even business areas which you are not familiar with as a leader in the future is going to be quite easy. I always envisioned, do you remember the movie Matrix? You remember the Matrix movie, right? And then there is this scene where Neo is about to fight Morpheus, and they download kung fu into his brain, and he says, "I know kung fu." Honestly, I believe something similar is going to happen with the leader, well, not necessarily directly to the brain, but for example, if I'm about to have a meeting where I need to have some information about corporate taxation, which I have no idea about, I will have the possibility to get that bit of really contextual information which I will need in order to execute my tasks, to do my meeting or whatever. So I think that is going to be a new management skill, how to deal with this virtually unlimited information, how to leverage your omnipotent assistant which is going to be probably a chatbot, which will have access to every bit of information inside your company in every dark corner of your servers or whatever, and it can dig it up, digest it, and make it available to you. As a leader, what do you do with that? I think learning that's going to be, pretty tough. Let me tell you an example, and also in a contextual way. So not just theories in general, but you will be able to actually tell your situation and let these tools figure out, okay, so what kind of theory or what kind of information is relevant right now? If I can tell an example about my own experience with Edugemitech. So we knew that our solution has two psychological pillars. What is the flow theory? And the other one is the cognitive workload. But we knew that there is something with engagement. There is a theory behind why people actually would like to come back again and again and again and engage with things. So I used one of the tools. I explained where we are. I explained this is what we are thinking about. And I asked the question, what other psychological theories could be relevant for our own specific case? And then it brought up the self-determination theory, which is talking about intrinsic motivations. I knew that. I was amazed, but I think it's going to be a super everyday experience for leaders of the future.
I love your example. And all this, it sounds so incredible. And we are opening up truly a new era of transformation of human beings as such, and of the way we are navigating the future as well. And we are recreating the world around us. So it's absolutely mind-blowing. The territory we are navigating today, it is so impressive. AI is redefining professional growth for sure. And you already touched down those topics, how AI-powered learning solutions can deliver real-time knowledge, enhance retention, and drive business performance. Do you think there is something else in that area that we should dive deeper into?
I think that in the future, your learning and development department should be able to provide you as an employee an absolute customized, tailored set of knowledge bits, which will help you in your specific situation to move from A to B, to progress in your career, to feel empowered, to have the sense of being able to make a difference because you have all the tools and knowledge and skills in order to make that next project or do that experiment. And I think it will have to be beyond customization, so like fully tailored. It also has to be contextual, not just usually a person who is in this position these are the pieces of information they usually need. No, I am here. I am facing this challenge, this project. I'm in this situation. I'm a people manager and I had this conflict or whatever. Teach me. What should I do in this specific situation? And that's what these tools will have to be able to deliver. And I think they will, because everything is there.
I'm looking forward to see
Very much.
real life application, truly. With AI automating tasks, human intelligence is more valuable than ever. And as we are looking at everything from humans for humans and applying this approach, so how should EdTech evolve to strengthen critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence in an AI-driven world?
I think what will be interesting, and we already started to scratch the surface of it, but I think there are still super fun things to come, is if I can refer to another movie, I'm also a huge Star Trek fan. And, in Starship Enterprise, they have the holodeck where you can run any type of simulation. And it can be just for fun, or it can be to better or enhance yourself for training and in situational exercises and whatnot. So maybe we're not going to be there with holodeck and things, but I'm pretty sure that these type of simulating real life situation, creating an environment when you have to, first of all, leverage what you have learned in the best way possible, and also making you more sensitive to certain requirements, certain situations. I think that is where Gen AI will be able to help us in this area. Also, because it can accelerate the digestion of pure data, and it can help you make sense out of massive documentation, so static facts. Actually, it will free up your time to figure out now what. So what do I do with all this information, with these facts? So it will save a lot of time on doing the research at the beginning so that you can spend more time and energy on figuring out what to do with the results, how to recombine them, how to innovate, how to come up with new ideas using your existing knowledge. So I think these are the two areas which just popped into my head that I think this is how Gen AI will be able to empower human intelligence to reach probably different levels here and there.
I love today's conversation because everything is so well structured. Everything is supported by real life examples. And
You can imagine I'm thinking about all this stuff in my current role. So yeah, I have the time to figure out some things, how they're going to look in the future.
fantastic. And we are blessed living in these times where we are co-creating the future on a level we couldn't even dream about even 5 years ago.
Yes, that is
So
absolutely true.
I agree. But today's conversation, I could continue it for a very long time. And unfortunately, it's already time to wrap it up. So, one game-changing insight from you. What's your most powerful advice for CEOs, HR leaders, and business owners on integrating AI into learning processes while keeping it deeply human?
Yeah, that's a good one, because my first reaction would be to come up with some technological thing. But if I look behind the scenes, and what we also believe in EduGamitech is that we probably at the pivotal point in time, because now it seems like that we may have the tools to actually transform the whole learning experience into something more natural. Because here's the thing, there is a natural way how children learn stuff, how they experience the world, and it's usually through mentoring by the elderly and a lot of playing and experimenting and trying. And if they learn that, okay, not to touch that mushroom, then you are okay, you are actually having fun and learning all the facts and information which you need in your future life. But we somehow deviated from this natural learning process. And right now, especially if I look at corporate learning, it's a chore. It's a task nobody really enjoys. It's something which you just have to get over it. And if, for example, if you are a salesperson and there is a new product coming out, you know that, okay, I have to sit through this 3-hour training and learn every bit of this new product. Although I know that my next customer conversation, I just need that 3 sentence, which will trigger their interest, and then we can talk about it. And when they ask me a question, which I remember it was in the training, but who remembers it? I will go back to my product team and ask them, hey, this is what I heard. Tell me, how does that work? And then I will learn it, which is okay. But this just makes the whole learning process redundant, a waste of money and time. So although, and I think we are in a position right now that leaders should think about how to make learning a more natural experience, how to make it part of the everyday life of employees, and not to experience it as a bad and mandatory thing, but just make it seamlessly fit into whatever I do. And it's a very famous example about game-based learning, right? That if I give you a sheet of paper with a bunch of arrows, up, down, right, left, down, up, down. And I tell you that, okay, learn it. You will suffer. You will say, oh God, okay, up, blah, 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 whatever. But if you make you sit in front of Super Mario and I tell you finish this level, eventually you will learn exactly the same arrows because that's how you go through the level, but you will enjoy it and probably you will remember the sequence of buttons you pushed 20 years later, as I remembered myself, one of the most encouraging ways. So that's how learning can become a more natural process. And that is something what Gen AI potentially can make possible in the future. So make learning natural, don't make it a chore, and then people will actually remember what they learned.
I love this. It's so powerful. It's so simple and so powerful. And maybe it's also about addressing so many elephants in the room to simplify the process and create something what is really addressing the real needs, not only today, but tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spot on. Fully agree.
Thank you so much, Attila, for being here today, sharing your experience, sharing everything what we need to think about and what can create a brighter future for us as human beings and help our businesses to thrive not only today, but in 2 years, 5 years, and even later in the further future, which we can't really predict today, but there are things we can still predict and know that they will remain. They will be a part of our reality. So I'm so grateful for everything you've been sharing here today. And I'm sure our listeners and viewers are going to relate to that and apply it in their practice.
I hope. Thank you. Thank you very much for this possibility. I really enjoyed the questions. They made me think really hard how things are going to work out. Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Digital Transformation and AI for Humans. I'm Amy, and it was enriching to share this time with you. Remember, the core of any transformation lies in our human nature, how we think, feel, and connect with others. It is about enhancing our emotional intelligence, embracing a winning mindset, and leading with empathy and insight. Subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes where we uncover the latest trends in digital business and explore the human side of technology and leadership. Until next time, keep nurturing your mind, fostering your connections, and leading with heart.